Do you think the job Maresca is doing is actually a bit underrated?
I think he's delivering what you expect.
Delivering what they expect? I know what you're going to say.
Leicester are top of the table, no?
Top of the table, but they're doing it with the best start we've ever seen.
When you get down into the nitty-gritty of it, results aside, focus solely on performances, you could argue he's underachieved because...
Hello and welcome to the Second Tier podcast. I'm Ryan Dilks and I'm joined by the Blitzen to my Rudolph. It's Justin Peach.
Good day to you, Ryan.
Justin Peach. What connects the following people? Joey Barton, Depon Chansiri, and Lawrence Fox.
Well, we could enter some dangerous territory here, couldn't we? Firstly, they're all tossers. Massive tossers. But do they all like the Smiths?
They don't all like the Smiths, as far as I'm aware. I feel like 2 out of 3 maybe do. I'm not sure about Chansiri. The answer is, they're all penises.
Okay, I was on the right lines the first time.
You were very right, actually. You should have gone with your gut instincts, Justin.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Do you want to know what day it is today?
It's Thursday.
Yes, Thursday, the 14th of December. That's correct. That is Gary Rowett, Gianfranco Zola Day, Justin.
Oh, wow, what an anniversary to celebrate.
What
the
an
day
anniversary.
The day the wheels came off at Birmingham City. They've only just been put back on again before being swiftly taken off once again.
Yes, that narrative would be a lot more fitting if Birmingham lost in midweek, but they actually did all right, which we'll talk about a bit later on. But happy Rowett Zola Day to all of those who celebrate it. Welcome to the number one championship podcast, the Second Tier. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. Yes, we've had another round of midweek games in the championship, so let's bloody talk about them. So we'll go through all the games from midweek, talk about the latest on what that means for the division, also talk about a couple of managerial bits and pieces. We had obviously Alex Neil sacked at the weekend moments after we finished recording, which was incredibly irritating. So we'll talk about what's going to happen next at Stoke later on. But first of all, we may as well kick things off, Justin, with the race for promotion. And there's been a big result in that regard. Sunderland 1, Leeds United 0. Joe Bellingham getting the only goal of the game in the 78th minute. This was the first time Leeds United have named a starting 11 in which all 11 players were born after Tony Yeboah's goal against Liverpool. What a stat that is.
Was that 94 or 95?
You are asking a man who really should have looked at that and written it down before anyone asked any more questions. I'm thinking 96, I think. That may be a year or two off, but it's certainly around there. But based on this game, maybe they should stick with the ones born after that, because this was one of those flat performances from Leeds, wasn't it? Which we see every so often. The thing is, Justin, we thought the win against Blackburn was them playing poorly and still winning, and that was a corner turned. But this game showed that's clearly not the case.
Yes and no. It was a frustrating performance, but that being said, Sunderland are a good side. They're going to take points off teams gunning for promotion this season. They were well drilled for Leeds, and like other results that have gone against Leeds, they put players behind the ball. Leeds found it difficult to break them down. I think the onus now is for Leeds and Daniel Farke to find a way to break those stubborn teams down who want to play behind the ball and essentially let you play in front of them. And yeah, they found it difficult. And I think the disappointing thing is they didn't really open Sunderland up enough and convincingly enough and consistently enough in that second half. But it was a good result for Sunderland, and obviously for Leeds, it's another, I think, a missed opportunity where they've dropped points, not needlessly, but it's a game that could have easily ended up in a draw.
Well, to think it could have been even worse had it not been for a ridiculous save by Ilya Meslier from a header. That was incredible. The gloss kind of gets taken off it when you end up losing anyway, but if they managed to hold on, that would probably be save of the season, wouldn't it? But with Leeds losing and both Leicester and Ipswich winning, it's a huge setback with their hopes of promotion. As we all know, Leicester and Ipswich have both started the season as well as anyone we've ever seen at this level. And it took a bit of time for Leeds to get going. Before the round of games on the 4th of October, Leeds were 9 points behind Ipswich. Since then, Leeds have won 9 from 12 games. and they're now 10 points behind Ipswich. So despite being in unbelievable form over the last couple of months, it's still not been good enough. And people will say, well, you can't win every game. But this is the standard this season, and Leeds now have to try and better it, and they're going to have to go on some record-breaking runs to catch the top two, aren't they?
Well, it's a record-breaking run, and you're relying on Leicester and Ipswich slowing down, which is an uncomfortable position to be in. You're relying on other teams getting results against those sides in the automatics. Both have been relentless. It's worth pointing out, and like you said, it's been an incredible run of form. How long can it last? Who knows? Can it continue? Who knows? All Leeds can do is sort themselves out. It's a cliche, and managers always say it. We'll just concentrate on ourselves. But when you've had some shaky starts, some shaky games like Leeds have, and dropped points needlessly in games like Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday, where they should be winning those games, you look at those games and you think that, well, that's what's cost us. And unfortunately now the chances of hitting the automatics are slim. But it's a long rest of the season. Things can change. Things can swing. It's just a case of Leeds praying that Ipswich or Leicester hit a few hurdles or hit a few bumps.
Yeah, you're right. There's still a long way to go, but we could quite feasibly, Justin, we could see Leeds get 90 plus points and still not go up. That's never happened before in Championship history, but that's just the standard this year. Yeah. It's crazy, but that's what Leeds are competing with, isn't it? That's the standard that's been set by that top two. And, you know, Leeds have been, for me, probably one of the best third-place teams, could be one of the best third-place teams we've ever seen at this level, and just not get anything to show for it.
Well, that's it, isn't it? And I think, they've lost 4 games so far this season, which is probably on the spectrum of a little bit too many for Daniel Farke's liking. But you are right; they are a side capable of hitting at 9 points again, especially under Daniel Farke. You look at the team that they finished with against Sunderland. Patrick Bamford was on the pitch. Wilfred Gnonto was on the pitch. There was Somerville as well. It's just blessed with so much talent and quality. Joel Pirro was there as well. It's just a side that's blessed with a lot of quality and a lot of talent. That's gonna keep getting points. It's going to keep punishing teams. But it's just whether or not it's going to be enough for the top two. And at the moment, as you point out, as we've said already, it's looking like it's not going to be the case. But swings, or things are going to swing between now and the end of the season.
Swings and roundabouts, I think, is the playground equipment that you were trying to think of. We need to give Sunderland their flowers. They were so well organised, which is incredibly impressive. Remember, they don't have a manager. And Mike Dodds, the caretaker, deserves so much credit. Wins against an in-form West Brom and Leeds. Mm-hmm. You know, it seems like he's not going to get the Sunderland job, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see him become a manager at some point, because he's only 37. He's getting huge praise from Joe Bellingham. So he seems like a really intelligent coach who may have a big future in the game. Could the Sunderland job be going to Will Still after all, though? Because The Guardian is reporting the Rams manager has held positive talks over becoming the new Black Cats boss. And Justin, you said before he'd be your man. Andy Brassel, who's the European football expert on the Football Ramble and on the continent, he told us that he didn't think Will Still would go for the job. So how does it feel knowing more about European football than Andy Brassel?
It's a given. I'm an expert. It's also worth pointing out that you throw in your doubts as well, and that's really where I'm going to take the trophy here, because if I can get anything, if I can get one up on you on anything, then I've got to take it, because you are you. As politely as I can say.
How's your weekly predictions going?
Exactly, I've got to take it. But listen, you can't underestimate the size of Sunderland as a football club. They are huge. We know this, and I've said it all before. But you've also got to look at where they can go in terms of their journey. Brighton and Brentford are two similar cases, and again, it does become a bit of a broken record when you mention them in terms of developing clubs. But they have set the blueprint for how to be a successful, sustainable football club and be competitive in the Premier League. And I think Sunderland are on that same trajectory. So why not get involved in one of the most exciting projects in Europe, in my opinion? And enhance your CV, get a stab at Premier League football should you win promotion. I think that's better than going to a Lyon, for example, or a Freiburg in Germany, a mid-table European club that's in the top division. I think it's better than that.
Well, the reason why Andy Brassel was dismissive of Still potentially going to Sunderland was because Still apparently dismissed speculation linking him with the Lyon job. Now, obviously, Lyon are a bit of a mess right now, so we should keep that into account. But I think it's completely understandable why, based off that, people think, well, he's not going to go to a Championship club then, is he? However, the fact he's even considering Sunderland, which he clearly is because he's held talks, shows just how ambitious this club is. And he's been regularly linked with Premier League clubs and some big clubs on the continent. So if Sunderland manage to pull this off, it genuinely will be the biggest managerial appointment by a Championship club since Bielsa to Leeds, as far as I'm concerned, because it will be something that sends shudders through the whole league, because this is just a coach who's so highly rated on the continent and will be dropping down to the Championship. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah, I might disagree a little bit with that sentiment, just a little bit.
Go on, name a bigger one then.
Well, I think Maresca coming into the Championship is quite a significant thing, for starters.
But Maresca hadn't managed. Well, he managed in Italy and did terribly in his one job. I don't think it's comparable to this, Justin. Will Still, may I remind you, I just told you a minute ago, turned down the Lyon job and is now choosing to take over a Championship club. And I know Sunderland are a big club, but in any circumstance, that is just incredible.
Yeah, I think when you look at it on paper, it is. But you pointed out Lyon are a mess, and Sunderland are on the up. I think it's an easier decision to make now than it maybe was a year ago.
Easy is a strong word, Justin.
An easier decision, a simpler decision to make at this point in.
That's still quite a strong word. Lyon are a huge club, and Sunderland, yes, are a huge club, but Lyon are a bigger club than Sunderland in the grand scheme of things. And whether Lyon go down or not, I don't know. But still, with any context, taking a Championship club, taking a job at a Championship club, he's still not done it, we must say. But the fact that he's considering it says a lot about the project that's happening at Sunderland, and that's incredibly impressive. So if it does happen, I'll be incredibly excited. A late winner from Sam Morsey saw Ipswich win 2-1 away at Watford. The goal came from a mistake at the back by Watford's Wesley Hoyt. Just Saints messaged us to say that's Hoyt fucking Southampton over once again. Yeah, he didn't do very well at a St Mary's, so I enjoyed that comment. But another huge result for Ipswich, and I thought they may come unstuck here because Watford are actually quite good at Vicarage Road, but the Ipswich are going up tractor always finds a way, Justin, and they've now won 4 league games on the bounce for the third time this season. Surprisingly, they haven't won 5 in a row yet, which caught me off guard because it just seems like they win every single week. But could that change this weekend? Because, of course, ladies and gentlemen, Ipswich fans will be desperately hoping that's the case, because it's the small matter of the East Anglian derby. Ipswich haven't beaten Norwich, their big rivals, since 2009. They last faced off in 2019, but quite a lot has changed since then, hasn't it? And let me tell you, Justin, Ipswich fans are absolutely gagging to get one over their big rivals.
Do you reckon Ipswich fans would rather take 3 points here than finish in the top 2 come the end of the season?
Yeah, I did consider whether this would be the case, but I don't think it would be. Although I think it's probably closer than a lot of people would expect. But I mean, Ipswich getting promoted is obviously the main goal here.
Yeah, I think maybe if Ipswich hadn't just come from League One and spent several years in League One, I think they could maybe wait another year for promotion if it meant getting an extra 3 points over the rivals. But yeah, this is a huge game, and it's a mouth-watering one. And again, it's such an easy thing to say with these derby games because they always seem to fall flat. But Ipswich have got so much, or Ipswich supporters and the club have got so much pent-up frustration at being, let's be honest, in Norwich's shadow for 14 years. What, a long time. Norwich have been rustling around in the Premier League for a lot, while Ipswich haven't, quite bluntly, gone through the Mick McCarthy years. There's a lot of narrative here, so much narrative, more narrative than more derby games, mainly because we've not had one for a few years as well. But yeah, this is a good one. It's a hard one to call as well, despite the fortunes of both sides this season. I think it's harder to call than what might be on paper.
Based off what?
based off. Well, I mean, Norwich have won 4 of the last 6, and Ashley Barnes is back. Who better to have in a local derby, or sorry, not a local derby, a derby than Ashley Barnes?
I would pick every single Ipswich player over Ashley Barnes.
In a derby, though. In a derby. Come on.
Yes, every single Ipswich player. I get what you're saying because, you know, I don't get what you're saying, actually. But look, Ipswich are the strong favourites for this, for what's probably the first time in at least a decade. And everything points to an Ipswich win. You know, the positions in the table, the form. Ipswich's near perfect home record. However, they do say form goes out the window in a derby. This would be quite an extreme example of it happening if Norwich got something here, but that is the old cliche. But it is quite remarkable how much things have swung in terms of the positions of these two sides. I mean, a few years ago, Norwich were the promotion-chasing side and Ipswich were seemingly on the slide. Now look at them. Also, people will turn their nose up at this derby because the clubs are so far away from each other, but people don't actually understand it's two neighbouring one-club counties against each other. And there probably will still be armchair fans who call this a tin pot derby. I've been to a few East Anglian derbies. I can tell you it's the complete opposite of tin pot. The atmosphere is electric at these games, and it'll be even more so here.
I just want to point out that this derby got Mick McCarthy telling his own fans to fuck off. So
one of the all-time great moments in this derby, possibly even the best.
What derbies get your own manager abusing your own fans? It's one of those derbies, and again, it's something that I've not appreciated mostly until this season, and it is a lot of anger, a lot of pent up hatred. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be the game to watch this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Quick word on Norwich. They'll be heading into the weekend off the back of a win. They beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-1. Again, I don't want to sound cynical with regards to Norwich, but this was another game where they won, and they weren't the most convincing, but David Wagner won't care. He's now got 4 wins in 6 after being under a fair bit of pressure. The star of the show was a player who Norwich fans have been clamouring to see more of. That was 22-year-old Spaniard Boya Sainz. They signed him from Turkey in the summer, but he's been missing through injury pretty much all season. Started for the first time against Sheffield Wednesday and got a goal and an assist, and he looks like someone who could reinvigorate Norwich, Justin.
Yeah, they need that. They need that technical quality in the final third because they have really, really missed it. Obviously, Johnny Rowe's been injured recently. Ashley Barnes has been injured as well. It looks like the squad's coming back together slowly. Although centre halves, they quite like Kenny McLean. Started at centre half again, was brilliant, by the way, but it just shows how bad recruitment has been. But Boya Sainz looked sharp. His goal was fantastic. It was a foot like a traction engine sort of quote after that finish because it was beautiful. And his ball, I think it was like for Ashley Barnes' goal, or it might have been Johnny Rowe's goal. One of the two. He played a lovely, lovely ball in as well. He looks a real talent.
Yeah, well, we heard good things from him over in Turkey, so let's see what he's all about, and it gives Norwich a bit of encouragement heading into the derby this weekend, and they'll be absolutely desperate to hold on to their unbeaten streak over Ipswich. Leicester are still sat atop of the table after a 3-2 victory over Millwall. 3 wins on the trot now for the Foxes, 11 points clear of third-placed Leeds. Justin, I wanted to ask you about Enzo Maresca, because in the polls on Sunday's episode, we asked the listeners, who would you appoint if you were a Premier League side? Daniel Farke, Enzo Maresca or Kieran McKenna? Kieran McKenna won quite easily, which I think is understandable, but Enzo Maresca only just got more votes than Daniel Farke. So do you think the job Maresca is doing is actually a bit underrated by those outside of Leicestershire?
I don't think so. I think he's delivering what you expect. I've got to be careful what I say here because you're probably going to clip.
Whoa, Justin, come on now. That's a bit strong. Delivering what they expect. I know what you're going to say.
Leicester are top of the table, no?
Yes, top of the table, but they're doing it with the best start we've ever seen in Championship history after 21 games. And I know what you're going to say. The squad is ridiculously talented. Probably one of the best we've ever seen at this level. But, as you're always very keen to point out, Fulham's Scott Parker struggled with that a few years ago, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Newcastle, in the 2 times that they came down to the Championship, they obviously won the league pretty easily in the end. But even they didn't do as well as Leicester are doing at this stage. So for you to say that he's doing as well as people would have expected, I think is you underrating the job that Enzo Maresca is doing.
You may have swung me here. I had a whole thing planned.
Go on then.
I had a whole thing planned.
Well,
I was going to say
get your
that.
rationale out. Go on.
I was going to say, when you get down into the nitty gritty of it, results aside, focus solely on performances. You could argue he's underachieved because in a lot of games, especially early on in the season, player quality got them through. Player quality. Shush.
That's a strong word, isn't it?
Let me make my point. I don't agree with this. I'm just looking at a general consensus.
You're the one
who
said it.
No. I'm merely speaking for the people. Yeah, as I say, I think player quality got them through as opposed to routinely breaking down opposition. That's changed now, and like I said, I think Maresca's probably delivering what people very much expect. But you have changed my mind, and I do actually think maybe the common man is underrating the job he's doing, because actually he's had to contend with quite a lot. There's a lot of uncertainty in the summer. There's a lot of movement in players. Style of play is shifted. They were conceding a lot of goals, and now not doing that. I think, yes, you are right. They are underrated. But you've got your clip now for social media now, so that's fine.
Yeah, and that's all I care about. Yeah, and look, for me, and I don't want this to sound like I'm having a dig at Daniel Farke by any means, because I think Daniel Farke is doing a brilliant job this season. But the Leeds squad isn't as far off from this Leicester squad, in my opinion, as people might think. So for Leicester to be flying as much as they have been, just absolutely dominating the league this season, is just insanely good. And it's all well and good having all these incredibly talented players here. To have someone to knit it together is a lot easier said than done. So Enzo Maresca deserves so much praise, and probably deserves a lot more praise than he is getting. I mean, I'd like to think we're doing our bit to give him enough praise, but maybe we're not, because for Leicester to be at this stage where they have had a record-breaking first 21 games in the season is just ridiculously good. Patson Daka got another goal, so that's 2-2 for him after previously only playing a minute in the league this season. That's just insane, isn't it? Quick word on Millwall, just 1 point above the drop zone, 1 point from 5 games. Not ideal, is it? Justin, let's take a quick break. After that, we'll talk about Stoke playing their first game since sacking Alex Neil, and Liam Richardson's first game at Rotherham. Welcome back to the Second Tier podcast. Stoke drew in their first match since sacking Alex Neil. It finished 1-1 between them and Swansea. Stoke very nicely announced the sacking of Alex Neil just as Sunday's episode was being uploaded. So thanks for that, Stoke. Not incredibly annoying at all. Stoke without a win in 7 after this draw. So who is the man to get them back on track is the question that Stoke fans are furiously asking. Well, Sky Sports is reporting John Eustace and Tony Mowbray are the leading candidates for the job, but there's also said to be a lot of names in the frame. The Telegraph says initial talks have been held with Mick Beale and Paul Heckingbottom. Some more, let's say, optimistic names have been mentioned, such as Graham Potter and Nuno Espirito Santo. Stoke fans have been losing their minds over the possibility of Nuno going to Stoke. So who do you think they should get, Justin, who's realistic? And I want to put emphasis on the word realistic.
Yeah, I've seen Graham Potter linked as well, but he's holding out for the England job. Nuno Espirito Santo, even if he was realistic, I don't think I'd move for him. Paul Heckingbottom, I have a theory, by the way, that he cannot succeed outside of Yorkshire. So there's, I mean, Stoke's in Staffordshire, so that's going to be a problem.
Cheers, Mr. Geography.
There we go. I actually really like John Eustace and Tony Mowbray as candidates. I mean, looking at this game in isolation, this was one of the games I watched over the midweek. With Stoke leading 1-0, I was convinced Swansea were going to equalise. So for me, if you've got someone like John Eustace or Tony Mowbray coming in who have an abundance of experience and really good personalities, they're going to get the best out of what they've got, and they've shown that in previous jobs. They've shown that they can solidify teams and get results going, and that's what Stoke need. They've got a good enough squad to compete further up the table. And people might point the finger and suggest both of those managers play a similar style to Alex Neil. It's true to some extent, but they're much better personalities. Alex Neil pissed people off. He was a miserable man, and he just could not get them on side, supporters on side. And like I said, I think Tony Mowbray and John Eustace have both left respective sides in a better position than when they found him. So I think either of those candidates are probably a better fit for Stoke right now than the likes of Paul Heckingbottom, Mick Beale, Nuno Espirito Santo, Pep Guardiola, etc.
Yeah, Guardiola, I'm sure he'll be gutted about that. It's interesting what you say about Neil being quite a miserable, dour man. Because
I cannot remember him smiling.
Well,
I genuinely...
well, you think about it. You look at the past Stoke managers. I mean, Nathan Jones obviously does quite a good job of rubbing people up the wrong way, and then Gary Rowett is quite a cynical character. O'Neill as well wasn't the most positive of blokes, but so maybe there's something we're onto here. For me, I find it difficult to name someone I think would be a good appointment for Stoke because so many good managers have been through there and struggled. John Eustace seems like the obvious shout to me, but I feel like it's just more of the same. Ditto Mick Beale and Paul Heckingbottom. And I'd like to see Eustace back in the Championship, but I don't think Stoke is the right club. I just cannot see that ending well. Mowbray, I wouldn't mind that. I'd be more on board with that one. For me, I'd like to see them try something different, though. An interesting name who I have heard mentioned is Slavisa Jokanovic, who I think would be a very interesting appointment. Yes, it didn't go very well for him at Sheffield United, but otherwise his record in the Championship is amongst the very best. So I'd like to see that.
Another miserable man.
He is a miserable man, but he's got a bloody incredible record at this level, Justin.
He does, and his Sheffield United spell should be taken with a pinch of salt. Although he did really do his best to cock it up. But on the basis of personalities, I really do think it's a personality thing. Now we've dipped into it a little bit more. I think someone like a John Eustace or Tony Mowbray, or even a Gareth Ainsworth, the world's happiest man, might swing their fortunes. They don't need tactical nous, they just need someone positive. And
are you Ainsworth's agent? Because you keep linking him to jobs for some reason when he's clearly out of his depth in the Championship.
It's because he's not the best musician, so I'm trying to get him a job. Sorry, that's a really unnecessary dig.
No, I like it.
But as I say, I think it's a personality thing, and I do like John Eustace a lot. And I think you've maybe not given me enough credit in terms of the Neil comparison, because style of play wise, there is similarities, but I think it goes way beyond style of play, because we've seen that it can be a success. Gary Rowett was sacked with Stoke 3 points off the playoffs, or whatever it was. So, you know, the style of play isn't the issue. It's the manager, it's the man, it's the personality. And I think getting someone in who can get fans on board and get positivity running around the club and be a good manager as well, I think is the way they need to go.
I just think it's too big a job for him, if I'm being brutally honest. By the way, just quickly back on the Stoke-Swansea game, there was a moment where Stoke's Ben Pearson tried to stop a throw-in by grabbing the ball and diving over the advertising hoardings with it. It's absolutely hilarious. I've posted it on my Twitter page, or X page. Sounds a bit rude, really, doesn't it? But I implore you, listener, to watch it. Quickly on Swansea, I'm not too sure what's happening with their search for a new manager, by the way. There were reports they had approached Chris Davies, Ange Postecoglou's assistant, but Spurs apparently rejected the approach. Sky Sports now say they're preparing another approach. So it appears Swansea are just leaving voicemail after voicemail saying, please. And that's as far as their search is going. They've still got Alan Sheehan in charge for the time being, though, and he is a very handsome man. Liam Richardson lost his first game in charge of Rotherham. They were beaten 2-0 at home to West Brom. There were a total of 10 shots in this game. Not a classic. West Brom just scored and then basically killed the game off. Brilliant free kick by Jed Wallace, though, for the second goal. Rotherham stay bottom of the table, 8 points from safety, just 2 wins all season, and Liam Richardson has definitely got his hands full in keeping them up, hasn't he? He may need a few more hands, actually, Justin.
A few more hands. He's got feet as well. I think he can improve Rotherham. But it is a big job and it is a big task. And I'll go on record saying I do like the appointment, but that doesn't mean he'll keep them up. Given time, I think he'll make them more competitive between now and the end of the season. I think that's all they can do. Getting results between now and January again is really, really important, because January could change their fortunes like it did last season. They were on a one-way trip to League One last season. They were terrible before they really, really did improve their squad with a raft of some really positive signings. Jordan Hugill started in this game, although fortune-wise Rotherham weren't the best going forwards. I think it is an indication of where Richardson wants to go and how he wants to play, because Hugo's obviously been in and out of the starting 11 under Matt Taylor and Wayne Carlisle. But overall, I think the squad isn't good enough to be competitive, and I think that's where Richardson's got to get more out of them. It's a big job. As we're saying, it's a huge job, a huge task.
Well, this is why I don't get why you think it's a good appointment, Justin, because if it was a good appointment, surely you'd think they'd have a good chance of staying up, wouldn't you?
Like I said, I think he can make them more competitive, but I think the teams that are around them have made better choices and quicker as well. I think that the timing of their appointments is really good. Cifuentes was in at QPR.
So you think other clubs have made better appointments, but you still think this is a good appointment? That's what I'm confused about.
Yes. It doesn't, because other clubs have made good appointments, doesn't mean it's a bad appointment. Rotherham are just batting in a different league when it comes to managers. They tried to get a Nathan Jones. They tried to get, who was the other manager they tried to appoint? I can't remember.
Loads of players, loads of people.
They tried to be ambitious, and in the end, they had to settle with Liam Richardson. Of the managers available and probably likely to take this job, I think Richardson's a good choice, because he's good at the intangibles. He's good at getting more out of players. He's good at developing that fighting ambition within a squad. It's not going to be enough to keep them up because they don't have enough quality. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be enough to make them more competitive. And if they can be more competitive between now and the end of the season, it gives them a chance. I just don't think it will transpire that they'll stay in the Championship.
I just really struggle to see there being three worse teams than Rotherham, and that's my big thing. No team has stayed up without winning at least 10 games, and wins look a long way off for Rotherham. They don't score and they concede too many, which isn't a good start. So I'm not convinced Liam Richardson is a good enough manager to change that, unfortunately. The Telegraph is reporting West Brom are edging closer to a takeover. Owner Gretchen Lai is said to be set to grant exclusivity to a preferred bidder very soon. It would be very timely if that happened before January, wouldn't it? Although that would be an extremely quick turnaround, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think a good example is Derby's. I know I keep going on about it pretty much every other week, but Derby's was done in 16 days. But that Derby were on the wire, weren't they? You look at Huddersfield's last season. That was a long time. That took from sort of hearing reports around March, April time to June or May, June, and then Leeds as well. Really long. So it really does depend on who's really keen here, and whether the buyers are really serious. Because although exclusivity means there's a buyer that's been chosen, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a viable buyer. It might not have the money, for example. So yeah, it's progress, but it's a pinch of salt sort of progress. But if it can be done between now and January, 2 weeks, fantastic. Don't think that will happen, but it would give Corberán some much needed a weightlifting off his shoulders. I think would be the best phrase.
Well, the contrast in 12 months could be staggering, couldn't it, if they do get the takeover done soon? Because this time last year, West Brom were in the bottom half of the table and the fans were furious because of the various financial loans putting the club's future in danger. Now they're challenging for the top and are hopefully close to getting a new owner. So it'd be some turnaround in the space of a year. So I just hope this takeover doesn't drag on as some of them do, more often than not, unfortunately. Wayne Rooney won just his second game in charge of Birmingham with a 1-0 victory away at Cardiff. And I can't believe I'm saying this, Justin. Birmingham actually played quite well.
Do we know why they played well? Cardiff had more possession. They had more passes. They completed more passes than Birmingham City. It felt like there was a lot of the John Eustace about this team in this game, and I think that's really what the formula that worked for Rooney here. It's a massive win and a massive clean sheet as well. But they were much better here because they just looked more comfortable in how they were playing. Sure, the principles of what Rooney wants from his team was still here, but I saw a lot more Eustace ball in this game than I did Rooney ball.
Okay. It was so much better. The fact is that not only were Birmingham not getting results, they were just playing terribly, weren't they? That wasn't the case here. They were much the better side and probably should have won it by more. And
Yeah.
I mean, what we saw, I wouldn't exactly call it no fear football, but they looked much better. And if they play like this more often, they'll be absolutely fine. Whether that's going to be the case in the long term, I don't know. But in the short term, it will certainly not be as bad as it has been recently. Preston got just their third win in 14 games by winning 3-1 away at Huddersfield. A much-needed result for Ryan Lowe, who was under growing amounts of pressure, but this result keeps him just outside the playoffs, so he'll be very happy. It is just 2 wins from 15 for Huddersfield, Justin. So not going very well, admittedly. However, I'm getting quite annoyed with Huddersfield fans constantly calling for Darren Moore to be sacked. All I see on Huddersfield Twitter after every loss is fans calling for his head. What do they expect, though? The squad's crap, isn't it? And it's a miracle, really, that they've been outside the bottom 3 for most of the season.
Yeah, if Neil Warnock is still in charge, for example, I don't think they'd be faring too much better because the squad, as you said, is worse than it was last season, which is saying something because they've invested in the likes of Ben Wiles, Akiyama's back in as well. They just don't look as confident or as organised, and that's not a slight on Darren Moore. I just think there's a heavy load on the current set of players and a bit of a hangover from Neil Warnock. I think the frustration from supporters, maybe fairly or unfairly, should be aimed at the new owners because everything on paper made sense. With bringing Darren Moore in, Neil Warnock needed to handle that transition period for longer. I don't think they needed to fall out. He needed to be in charge until January, get players in, and then hand over to a new manager, whether that be Darren Moore or somebody else. That was the cock up, not Darren Moore in this squad. Not Darren Moore. The squad's poor. It needs adding to, and Neil Warnock probably needed to be in charge for a little bit longer.
Well, if Huddersfield fans want to blame anyone, it should be the owners, because they're the ones who didn't do enough business in the summer, and that's what's ultimately costing him now. And that's why Neil Warnock jumped while he had the chance, because he probably thought this squad wasn't good enough. So what's the point in sticking around? I just don't get who Huddersfield fans think can realistically come in and do a much better job than what Darren Moore is doing with the tools he's got. Even Warnock struggled with this team. As you say, I don't think it would be much better either. And that's what Huddersfield fans are now relying on, the January transfer window, to ultimately save their season. And if the owners don't pull their finger out there, then Huddersfield have got very little chance of actually staying up this season. Hull came from a goal behind, to win 2-1 away at Middlesbrough. What a cracking result for the Tigers. Managed to do it without Jayden Philogene as well, who's been one of the best players in the division this season. He was injured for this game, but to get this result without him is remarkable. And their results have been a bit hit and miss recently, but the level on points with 6th place Sunderland, and it feels like Hull are genuine playoff contenders, Justin. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. I think we've said this a few times this season. They've not really dipped below 10th. They've been hovering in and around it, and that's all you can do. They've got a really good squad. I think I hope they've got room to add to it in January, because there's still a few short. And I think this game proves that although Borough do have an injury crisis, they can withstand pressure. They can not win ugly, but they can be up against it at times and come out the other side. They're a good side under Rossini. They're moving in the right direction. There's not much I can dislike about Hull at the moment. They're very progressive, and they're going in the right direction. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah, and I agree. I really like what Liam Rossini is doing. They've got some really talented players who are all coming to the fore at once. 2 great examples of that are Liam Delap and Scott Twine, 2 lads who are very talented but had some really tough seasons. Had really tough seasons last season. Now seem to be really enjoying their football. I think it is a bit of a concern with Jayden Philogene. I'm not sure how long or what extent his injury is. I have seen reports saying he's going to be out until 2024, which doesn't seem that bad considering we're midway through December. However, there are a lot of games to be played between now and 2024, so that's a bit of a blow. But they showed against Middlesbrough that they're not necessarily relying on him. So if they manage to keep getting the best out of the other players who they've got available, then it's great. And as far as their playoff chances go, I think they've got a great chance. If I had to categorise it, I'd have the current top 4 as guarantees for the top 6. I think that's pretty much said and done as far as we're concerned. Then I'd have Sunderland and West Brom in the next category below. Not just because they're in the top 6 right now, but because I think they're just also the next strongest. Then I would have Hull, Middlesbrough and Coventry in the next category. And then loads of other teams in the other category. And I think that's a really good place for Hull to be in, Justin. Do you think that's fair?
No, I do, because again, you've got to look at their manoeuvrability manoeuvrability in January. I think they're in a better place to add to their squad than the likes of Preston, Cardiff, Norwich. And again, they've got gears to go. I do think we've not seen the best of Hull City yet. They've got a lot of attacking quality that has been inconsistent in form, apart from Jayden Philogene. Liam Delap's had his spells. He's picking up. There are other players as well. They're in a good place to kick on. And as I say, they're not keeping as many clean sheets as they did last season as well. So there's a room to improve in that aspect as well. So they've got gears to go, and I do like where they're going.
Yeah, I say Hull are in the same category of Middlesbrough, but Middlesbrough may be sliding out of that category with the way things are going. 4 losses from 5 now for them. Obviously, injuries have massively hindered them, but I don't think you can completely point the finger at that, though. It's not a great run, whichever context there is with it. Another team who will fancy their top 6 chances is Blackburn. They beat Bristol City 2-1. It's been 4 months since Blackburn last drew a game, which is a fun stat, isn't it? Won 10, lost 10. They're having a good season, though, aren't they? Just outside the playoffs. How do you rate their top 6 chances?
I rate them quite high. I really do. I've made the comparison to last season. I think they're much better this season. They look a lot more complete without the talisman that was Ben Brereton Diaz. There's a clear plan. You only got to see a repeat of Sami Szmodik's goal. They've been a near copy and paste of each other in the space that he breaks into. That's not a fluke. It's well drilled. They're consistent. We know that. I mean, 10 wins and 10 losses is consistent. 34 goals, 34 goals conceded is very consistent. Sure, they need to improve areas, but they're on the other side like Hull, where I think they've got gears to go. They've hopefully got room to add in January. Arne Sigurdsson is coming back into side. His touch for his goal in this game was absolutely sensational. It just shows the quality that they've got to still come into the team. So yeah, really, really exciting for Blackburn. Really, really exciting.
Yeah, well, obviously Sami Szmodik's his top scorer in the league and is having a remarkable season. I'd be surprised, though, if he got another 14 goals in the second half of the season. So I wonder if they'll be able to keep scoring as well as they have been as time goes on. They have got some very exciting players, though. They're good fun to watch. They like to press, attack quickly and defend high up the pitch. Leads them giving quite a few chances. But it's entertaining, isn't it? No matter if they are a bit leaky at the back. It's going to be difficult for them to get a top 6 place because you've got several teams fighting over what is essentially 2 spots, but it's not completely out of the question by any means. Coventry 1, Southampton 1. Haji Wright getting on the score sheet for Coventry, took his goal really well. I'm not sure there's a player we've mentioned more this season than Haji Wright. It's just fascinating when he's in front of goal, isn't it? You can never have any degree of certainty about what's going to happen next. 9 times out of 10, he flushes it wider over the bar. Here, he has unbelievable composure to dribble past a man and then put it into the back of the net. He's an interesting player, isn't he? Southampton, unbeaten in 13 games now, the longest current unbeaten run in the whole of the Football League. And this result goes a long way to strengthening their grip on 4th place. QPR v Plymouth is the final game of the weekend, or midweek rather. That ended goalless. Plymouth were down to 10 men for over an hour here. Ooh. So when you consider that, plus their record away from home and QPR's recent form, this is a cracking point for them, really, isn't it? Let's have a look ahead to the weekend then. And in each preview episode of the second tier, Justin and I will each pick a banker, a team we think is guaranteed to win this coming weekend, as well as an outsider. So someone we think is going to win, but is bigger odds with the bookies than their opponents. We're tracking how we do as the season goes on. It's 1 point for a correct banker, 2 points for an outsider. Whoever loses has to do a forfeit. That will be a CrossFit vomit-inducing workout for myself, while Justin has to do a long coach trip from Sunderland to Plymouth and back. The current scores are 25-18 to myself after I got a full house last week. Justin's banker of Coventry to beat Birmingham did come in, but his outsider of Millwall to win at Cardiff didn't. And that's a 7-point gap, Justin. That is huge.
Well done. You can do maths. Move on.
Someone's not looking forward to that coach trip. Justin, what is your banker this weekend?
I've gone with Sunderland to win away at Bristol City. Sunderland's away form's largely better than the home. Obviously struggled. They have struggled in the last 5 under Tony Mowbray. So this is a little bit ballsy, but I like what Mike Dodds has done. He's shored them up, and I think they look a lot more stubborn, and confidence is growing again in attack.
Picking an away team as your banker.
Got to take risks. 7-point gap.
No wonder you're getting battered. My banker for the weekend is Plymouth to win at home to Rotherham. I've decided to stray away from the top teams this week because I can afford to. I'm showboating at this point. Plymouth have got a great record at home. 6 wins from 10. Rotherham are awful away. Just 2 points on the road all season. They've gone a whole year without an away win. So that's why I'm going for a Plymouth win. Swansea to win at home to Middlesbrough is my outsider this weekend. I'm not huge on Swansea right now, but I struggle to get behind Middlesbrough as favourites for a game when, first of all, they're away from home. Secondly, they've had so many injuries and it's really hampered their form. So I'll go for a Swansea win as my outsider. Justin, what's yours?
I've gone with Blackburn to win away at Southampton. Call me crazy. Odds massively stacked against Blackburn here in the Alan Shearer, Kevin Davis derby, whichever target man you prefer. But Rovers are a fast counter-attacking team, and I think Southampton maybe have become a little bit complacent in the final third of late, so it might swing the game in Rovers' favour because they are a really, really quick side on the transition, and I think that might cause Southampton a few problems.
I completely forgot Kevin Davis played for Blackburn. I thought you were getting them mixed up with Bolton. I was going to say that'd be sacrilege, Justin, but fair enough. Now it's time for this.
Scott High or Ryan Lowe?
Neil Best is fucking shit, mate.
Yes, it's time for Scott High or Ryan Low. This is the game where we have to rank 4 things from highest to lowest. It's as simple as that. There's 3 questions. This week, Justin is providing the questions to me. So what have you got for me, Justin Peach, you bastard?
I've got 3 questions for you, Ryan. First of which is, which of these sides has completed the most accurate long balls / passes, however you want to coin it? Leeds, Millwall, Leicester City, or Hull?
Okay, that's tricky because obviously a team like Leeds isn't very long ball. However, they have a lot more possession than all the other teams you've mentioned there. So that is something to ponder. I'm really sorry. Could you read out the teams to me again, please?
Millwall, Leeds, Hull, and Leicester.
I don't think Leicester will be that high. I'm tempted to put Leeds quite high. In fact, I'll go Millwall, Leeds, Hull, Leicester.
It's incredibly wrong.
Is it?
Well, Hull are in the right place, but you've fallen for the red herring. Leicester are top.
Yeah, I should have put more emphasis on the possession thing, shouldn't I?
You should.
That's a rookie mistake from me.
Leicester are top, then it's Millwall, then it's Hull, then it's Leeds.
Leeds are bottom.
Leeds are bottom.
Well,
Cannot play a long ball. Cannot play a long ball.
Maybe they just don't want to, Justin. Have you ever thought about that? What's the next question?
It's all about discipline, this one. So I want you to rank the players on who, or not rank, but put in order, on who has accumulated the most yellow cards so far this season. There's been quite a lot. Your players are Sam Morsey, Luke O'Nien, Lewis Travis, and Ben Pearson.
A lot of shithouses there.
A lot of shithouses. I specifically went for shithouses.
Yeah. Right, I'll go straight out of the blocks and put Sam Morsey top. Then Pearson, O'Nien, who's the other one?
Lewis Travis.
Lewis Travis, I don't think
loves a reckless tackle.
He does, but I don't think he's played as much as some of the others. Mind you, Luke O'Nien's been playing as a defender, so would he have got as many yellow cards? I'm thinking more midfielders when I think of yellow cards. But Sam Morsey's definitely top.
Okay.
I'll put in Pearson second because he is a card magnet. Then I'll go O'Nien, then Travis.
You've just got Morsey and Pearson mixed up.
Oh, you're joking.
You're so close. Yeah, Ben Pearson's top. He's got 10 yellow cards.
How? He just
10 yellow
loves it,
cards.
doesn't he?
21 games played, 10 yellow cards.
God, it's like Christmas with him, isn't it? Just cards everywhere. God.
Birthdays, Christmas, Easter, he loves them. Sam Morsey is next, obviously. I can't remember. I didn't write down how many he got, but it's
Jesus Christ, the organisation from you is pathetic. What's the final one, Justin?
It's the run up to Christmas. So, which of these are the most popular Christmas films? It's a BBC poll because you always ask me, where'd you get your data? It's a BBC poll, Ryan.
Okay.
It's official. Taxpayer paid. Sorry, TV license paid. There we go. Your Christmas films are Home Alone, Polar Express, A Muppet Christmas Carol, and Die Hard.
BBC poll, fine. Home Alone top. I think that's just a great film, which is loved by the nation. I haven't actually seen Polar Express. It's on my to watch list this Christmas.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. Die Hard, I'm not sure. Muppet Christmas Carol. Well, Home Alone is definitely top. I can say that for sure. And then I'll go with...
Come on.
I really don't know. Sorry, I'll go Home Alone top. Then Polar Express. Then Die Hard. Then Muppet Christmas Carol.
You've butchered it. You've butchered it, Ryan.
Don't tell me Home Alone's top, otherwise I'm leaving this country.
Die Hard's top.
That is utter nonsense.
Die Hard's top.
I think it's a Christmas film. I'm not going to get into that whole debate. But the fact that's above Home Alone is outrageous.
Maybe people are just Home Alone fatigued.
Never.
Maybe.
You can never be.
Maybe. Muppet Christmas Carol is second. Obviously, Michael
What?
Caine. Yeah,
Above Home Alone?
Well, Michael Caine put in an Oscar-worthy performance. He played Scrooge as serious as a car crash in that film. Home Alone is third, and then Polar Express is quite rightly last. I don't get that film. Never will. Hate it.
Not seeing it, so can't comment on that. But Home Alone not being top is outrageous. This is the scandal of the century, and I'm now going to end this podcast and go vomit profusely. This has been the Second Tier Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back again on Sunday for another round of weekend games. I look forward to seeing you then. If you wouldn't mind giving us a 5-star review on whichever podcast platform you listen to us on, it helps us go a long way to growing as a podcast, and we will greatly appreciate it. So please take 5 seconds of your time to do that. I'm off to the bog. This has been the Second Tier Podcast. I've been Ryan Dilks.
I'm Justin Peach.
And a big thank you for listening.